Now once you've gotten your knitted fabric to the desired length, you need to go ahead and get it off of the machine without unraveling it. So, this is kind of a delicate process here, but it's fairly straightforward. First, you're going to go ahead and unhook the yarn from the gold box, the guide there, and you're going to go ahead and make one complete turn back. It doesn't matter which side you're on. Very slowly and carefully you're going to make one complete turn. And be really careful they don't go too far, because this other side, the needles are going to want to pop up. So you really got to watch that. Now, you're going to go ahead and grab your trusty circular needles. Hopefully you have one that will fit in between the guides. It makes it a lot easier. And you're going to go ahead, I usually start with the side that the thread is on, and just stick the tip of the needle between those two little posts on your machine and pick up the yarn. Pick up the stitches out. That first one's always a little bit fussy, but after that they go pretty quickly. And I just pick them up from the center. They're not going to be turned so that you could easily knit with them yet, but we'll fix that as we go. So, once you get them all picked up, and you can carefully turn it if you need to. Almost got them all here. Also, you want to make sure, and it'll say if you're following a pattern, you typically want to make it a couple of inches too long, a little bit longer than you want, so that you've got some room to play with. There we go. So there's my little piece here. And the first thing that we need to do is get this bound off. So I'm going to go ahead, I like to bind off, I'm going to bind off on the knitted side. So I'm going to go ahead and purl one row all the way across, but I've got to be kind of careful to make sure that my stitches are twisted in the correct direction, and they're not. They're exactly opposite. So I'm going to first flip this stitch around before I purl it. Now, depending on how you took the yarn off of the machine, which side you were on, you may be on the knit side, or you may just want to bind off with the purl stitches. I'm going to give myself a little more extra row here to work with, and that way you can kind of see, hopefully, how, if you ended up dropping some rows, you could get those back by hand. Because you want to make sure that your stitches are, the thread that's closest to you on the side of the stitch should be a little bit closer to the tip of the needle than the back thread. So keep flipping them around. Now, it looks like I did actually lose a stitch, so it's fairly simple to go ahead and grab that back up. And I'm just going to do it with my needles here. So I just grab that thread and I pull it through. And there we go. Voila, problem solved. Just keep right on rolling. Okay. So voila. Now I'm going to go ahead and bind off. So I just use my regular bind off, and I'm going to make it nice and loose. So I just knit one, knit two, and then I take that first knit stitch, slide it over the top of the second knit stitch, and right off the needle. Knit another one, and do that again. So I'm always just sliding that rear stitch up over the front stitch. So they're pulling it off there. So I only ever have 2 stitches and then 1 stitch on my right hand needle at a time. Almost done here. And you're going to do that all the way across until you get to the end. Okay, and when you get down to that last one, just knit it just like all the other ones, and then pull off the back stitch so you're left with just 1 stitch on the needle. You want to break your yarn, give yourself a bit of a tail. Oh. You can use scissors if your hands aren't as tough as mine. And go ahead and thread the end of that yarn through the loop. And it's going to stick up a little bit. You don't have to be too fussy about it at this point. If you know a better way to do it, use your way. I usually just sew mine in so that it is well hidden.